So let's get into some meat here, and then we'll go back to some questions. So if you set up a self-managed super fund, it could cost $5,000 to set up because you have to set up effectively a separate entity. Now, that entity, it will need a trustee. So that you're setting up a trust. Superannuation funds, they're trusts with the beneficiary or being set up for the purpose of the members. You can be the trustee yourself or have a corporate company trustee. I always recommend and suggest people have a corporate trustee. So it's a company. So it's going to be $300 a year just for the company fee. The company will act as the trustee, and the trust will have a trust deed. And the trustee's responsibility is to ensure that the fund is operated as per the deed. And if there are 2 people in a super fund as a member, or we can have up to 6 members, so you, your partner, and 4 kids, all could be members. Each member has to be a director of the corporate trustee. Within the fund, if 2 people put in $200,000 each, it's one super fund with $400,000, but in the background, like the episode we did last, there will be member statements. So one member, it will say your eligible service date, your taxable component, your tax-free component. It'll have all the components in there, and there'll be 2 member statements. And every year, you have to do a tax return and pay for an external auditor to audit the super fund. The super fund world is regulated by APRA, the Australian Prudential Regulatory Authority. However, the ATO oversees self-managed super funds. Okay, so you will potentially pay up to $5,000 to get a fund set up. Could it be cheaper? Probably. Could it be more? Probably. This goes to where are you going to get that set up and who's setting it up for you.
Yeah. If it's more than 5, I'd start to ask questions though.
Yeah. Now, each year to do the financials, and remember, if you're doing crypto trading and heaps of transactions, this could be more than the run of the bear. It could be $2,500 to $3,500. I think my self-managed super fund, it's about $2,000 a year for the audit and the accounts. So
which includes the tax return.
That's right. The accounts are the tax return, and then so you need to set up this trust. It'll have its own bank account, and it will need an accountant or a self-managed super fund specialist. I've got a specialist who pretty much just does super funds, and she does all the accounts for me. So it's a big deal. And for example, people are always like, well, how much money do you need? Well, you could set up a self-managed super fund with $10,000 if you want.
Yeah.
However, if you look at the year 1 cost, and we'll just call it $8,000, so the setup and the first year audit, call it $8,000. Now, the super fund will pay for that. You don't pay for it out of your own money. So we go back to $8,000 divided by $250,000 is 3.2%. So remember that last podcast where we looked at the platform fees with ART, for example. The first year platform fee for the super fund is 3.2%, where the fund industry or retail fund's probably 0.1%.
Yeah.
And this is before we even worry about investments.
Yeah, and that's where you mentioned before about the balance being critical when we're setting this up. If you've got $3 million in super and you decide to create a self-managed super fund, then the percentage is obviously relative to that.
Absolutely. Now, year 2, if we assumed there was $3,000 for the annual financials and audit, and I've done $3,000 divided by $265K, so it's grown from contributions, maybe a bit of growth in there, it's 1.13%, which, sure, it's probably okay.
Not bad.
But, if you want to invest in ETFs or a property, you've got your investment fees.
Yeah.
So realistically, you're really not entertaining it, I don't think, without 200 to 300K of combined assets in terms of just a fee thing.
Yeah, and you're not doing it in the initial stages to save on fees.
No, you're doing it for a purpose. And I will say as well, one of the benefits of using a self-managed super fund, but you can get this benefit in a wrap account. And again, we'll share the link to the wrap account where I went through in details because the concepts are the same. When you're moving to pension mode from accumulation, in Superland with all your industry funds and all your, those type of unitized trusts, they've got to actually sell down your assets and buy into the pension pool. So you will pay tax. So it could cost up to 0.8% of your account balance at the time. So if you had a self-managed super fund or a wrap account and you're accumulating wealth from age 30 or 40, when you get to pension phase, there doesn't need to be a physical sale of those assets. It's a paper entry effectively. Yeah. Okay. So there are some absolutely tax reasons with significant wealth, but you can get most of the stuff that you want to do with a self-managed super fund nowadays, you can get with a wrap account with some exceptions. So what about we now go, we'll take a break, and when we get back, we'll go through a property example, buying it in a self-managed super fund. We'll be back right after this. Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.